All right. Buckle up for this one, gang. We have a lot of information that is going to be going through the airwaves here to your ears. First off, thanks for catching the Air Out podcast live from the ASB Financial Studios and Fly on the Wall Productions, Main Street in Barre. We are hovering right now about 55 degrees, and I have with me, sitting right next to me right now, one of the handsomest guys on the planet, John Sell. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Tell me about Laser Systems Inc. Tell me about you a little bit. You've been doing this for a long time, and we got some funky shit going on in the world right now.
You could say shit.
Oh yeah, of course. With what's going on with the computers and cell phones, things are wacky right now. There's some weird stuff going on. There's some delays. There's you're on a.
It'll probably be pretty bad today because of a geomagnetic storm that hit on the sun last week. Takes about 5 days, 6 days to get to the Earth. And tonight, of course, where we live, it's always overcast and it's always raining whenever there's some fun solar or celestial event.
We miss it. That's right.
Yes. And tonight would be a great night for Northern Lights.
Okay.
Because
of the solar storm, it's all related.
It is all related, and so it impacts cellular communications.
Yep.
So there's a lot of weird stuff going on today. We're actually, our number today on a scale of, I think it's 1 to 14. We're a 7.
All right, so 14 being the most amount of impact.
Yeah, and that wouldn't happen here. That would be something that would happen up at the North Pole. But
gotcha.
But the last time we were a 7 was in the early 2000s.
Really?
And I actually got some really, really nice Northern Light pictures. Right here in Barre. And so if it wasn't overcast tonight, the peak of the geomagnetic storm hitting here is going to be around 8 o'clock tonight.
All right. So, I mean, I made a phone call and hung up, but the person was still there. I couldn't.
You couldn't talk to him?
I couldn't hang up on him. Mm-hmm. We were done talking.
Yeah, well.
Here's the thing. I'm swiping through my cell phone. Couldn't find the phone call anywhere. It wasn't anywhere. Now, I know Sherilyn would be like, that's because you don't know what you're doing with your phone. But no, seriously, dude, there's like weird things going on.
And weird things happen. It's kind of like a full moon in kindergarten.
Right.
The kids act really
yes
weird. That's what will happen today. So if you have something odd happen, wait until tomorrow or wait until Saturday, or I guess, is today Thursday?
Yeah,
yes.
Today's Thursday.
So wait until tomorrow night or Saturday before you totally freak.
Well, we're pulling a lot of bandwidth just sitting here right now, just doing the show. Just the audio and the video, everything is integrated. Everything is, all this information is being rendering right now. Wouldn't surprise me right now if.
Well, that wouldn't be very nice, would it?
Well, no, but you never know.
Right.
So if all of a sudden we disappear, you'll understand what happened. So this is affecting not only cellular usage, but it's your internet. It
is because all of that is satellite based, right?
Satellite based.
Yep. Even people that don't have satellite, it's satellite based because when Spectrum gets their signal, they're getting it from a satellite, and then it goes over the lines. But there's going to be issues.
What do we do? What do we do?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
No. It happens.
It's not like we can send an email up to the sun gods and say, knock it off. You're screwing me up here, dude.
Yeah, if you did that, you'd be locked up.
Right.
It's great fodder for...
Oh, my God. Yeah. So fair to say that utilities and... any company that's dealing with a satellite is experiencing some headaches and plenty of phone calls from their customers.
Potentially, yes. And that's, like I said, it's something that we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get excited about it. I get excited about the Northern Lights, except
right. We're not going to see them.
It just
tonight.
doesn't happen.
Right. Well, they'll be happening somewhere else, but just not above our Vermont skies.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about, so we got that out of the way. A little bit about, we want to talk about cybersecurity and, ransomware and all of that stuff that's going on. But tell me a little bit about you and Laser Systems. You're right here in the Granite City.
I am. I've been here. I've actually been doing this here since 1984. It really was it was a full-time gig until 98.
Okay.
Then I took on a teaching position at the Barre Tech Center teaching computer troubleshooting. And it became a part-time gig at that point. Then in 2000, I joined the Barre Supervisory Union on their IT team, and I stayed there until last year.
Okay.
Now I'm doing this thing full-time.
Yeah.
And it's the full gamut. I work with small businesses. I work with homes. I do everything from helping you procure the equipment. And that's one of the things I've never done. I don't buy the equipment and sell it to you. There's no markup. I will find what you need, and I will send you a link. You'll buy it. You'll let me know when it's there. So there's no markup because historically there was always anywhere from a 20 to a 40% markup in equipment.
Wow.
And while a lot of that has dropped, with me it doesn't exist because
so modems and servers and things like this, you can go to someone's business or home, install it, get things going, but also maybe some security cameras, some remote stuff.
I'm doing more and more camera stuff now.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of Wi-Fi stuff because people are frustrated with what they've got.
Right.
And some of that can be internal interference, and that's going to be difficult. But
or it could be technology just simply outdating itself.
Yes, and there's a lot of that. And one of the things that the internet providers don't like is I have a problem with equipment that just sits.
Yep.
And everything migrates.
Right.
And so when the internet and everything connected to it is moving ahead, and you've got a modem that's been sitting on your desk for 3, 4, 5 years.
True.
You're paying monthly in most cases.
Right.
So a call needs to be made, and you need to just say, I want my equipment upgraded.
Right.
And
but you'll come in and say, you should update this, leave this alone, leave that alone.
Yeah.
This is fine. That's fine.
I can do that, yes. They hate that because it's in their best interest to have you pay for a piece of equipment that was paid off in the first year, and it's now it's clear money for them, but it's not okay.
Right.
That's where a lot of frustration comes from.
Yeah, I bet.
And you'll call them, you'll call their tech support. They'll run you through everything that you've already done.
Yes.
But you have to do it for them while they're on the phone because it's just the way they are.
Isn't it remarkable? When you and I were kids, we didn't have any of this shit going on.
No.
We had a simpler life. Now, our lives are in our hands. We're walking around with a cell phone that is more than it's more than a phone. We don't even use these things as phones anymore. It's our life. It's our email. It's our communication. It's everything.
The computing power of an iPhone 10 and above is more than the original Apollo flying to the moon had. So there's a lot of computing power in your pocket.
Right. What do you, and now you've got people calling you, screaming, Houston, we have a problem, with maybe even to the point of tears. I mean, there's massive amount of frustration. If we lose personal data, we lose photographs, sentimental stuff.
So I had a client last year, and I actually couldn't help her. I tried, but her young son had tried getting into her phone, and her phone was set up because iPhones have as an option, after 10 times, you can't get in. And she had this 2-year-old in the back seat who disabled her phone, and all of her pictures for those 2 years of him were on that phone. And so they're gone. And you know, I talked to Apple, and there is no way to reverse that. So right now, I told her to put the phone in a safe space and, you know, keep a charger because the built-in obsolescence, all that stuff changes. And in 5 or 10 years, maybe it'll be that phone is old enough that they're willing to help. Maybe somebody's going to come out with a way for you to get into it. I wouldn't get rid of it because the phone wasn't the problem. So, yes, that's a huge issue. Now,
oh, my God.
I mean, I've got 130,000 pictures on my phone and 8,000 videos. And iCloud, so I have a 2 terabyte iCloud, but it's full, and it, you know, so yeah. So what I've done is now Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can upload unlimited full res photos. You go to Amazon Photo, set up an account, set it up. So all of my pictures are backed up on Amazon. Now for videos, they only allow, I want to say 5 gig of videos.
Okay.
And so that was about 500 of my, you know, the 7,000 or 8,000. So I'm paying $2 a month for 100 gig on Amazon Photo for just the video. But the point is, it's backed up.
Yeah, it's backed up somewhere.
And it doesn't matter where. And because I don't trust anything, I also do pay for Google. There's a separate, so not your standard. And I've got unlimited photos there, so I actually back it up twice. So I have my photos.
You've talked about that before, the importance of backing stuff up. We just had you on the podcast by phone a couple of weeks ago, and you spoke of that don't just back it up once. Don't put it on a thumb drive.
Well, part of the issue talking about ransomware is just that. Ransomware will attack anything that is attached to the computer. So if your computer gets hit and you've got your USB key in there, your USB key is trash. If you've got an external 5 terabyte drive and you've got all your data backed up, it's trash.
Oh, my God.
If you're connected on a network to a server and you've got any shared capability built in so that you're sharing with company files, everything that you're shared with is trashed on the server. It isn't just your machine, and that's why backup becomes so important. And the backup, you know, people think that they're really good about it, and they're really good about it for about the first 2 days. And I'm not kidding. That's the issue. Is backing up is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, of course it is.
And see, I got away with saying ass.
Yes, you did.
So, so that is a huge issue. People think they've got it, so they'll go and buy a USB key. They'll plug it in. They'll copy their documents and their photos.
Right.
And that's great for that day.
Yeah.
But anything beyond that day, you don't have.
Right.
And if you leave that USB key in, it's going to be trashed. If you pull it out, you're never going to put it back in.
So if I'm on my computer here and I'm on my doing anything, and my Google Drive is open, and I get hit, or I click on something and I've got some ransomware.
It depends on what you have set up in Google Drive. Google Drive has, if you have just the regular Google Drive, then you're okay. If you have sync set up, which means every time you work on a file, it automatically copies it to Google Drive.
I think I do.
Then your Google Drive is screwed.
Ooh. I thought you were just going to say then you're good.
No, you're not. If you have sync set up, you're protecting yourself because it gets back to that nobody does backup correctly. So you don't have to do anything. You create a file, you go in and edit it and put one period in there. The file is changed. Now the file's automatically copied up to Google Drive or wherever. Now, the issue is that if you get attacked by ransomware, it changes the file because what ransomware does is ransomware encrypts all of the files on your computer, and because the file is changed, it goes up, it overwrites the previous file that was there, and your backup is gone. There's two methods to it, and one of them.
You're scaring me, dude.
Well, I'm supposed to. That's what this is about. Well,
I know.
You need a backup with versions.
Okay.
Something that Backblaze and Carbonite. I mean, there's many companies out there that do this. So, Carbonite, which costs $70 a year, is a lot cheaper than trying to get your data back.
Okay.
So at $70 a year, Carbonite has 8 versions. So what happens is every time your file changes, it keeps the previous versions up to 8 versions. When you get hit with ransomware, all of your files get encrypted, all of your files get backed up, they overwrite the last backup. You contact Carbonite, you let them know that you've been hit with ransomware. They shut down your Carbonite. They delete the most current backup because it's worthless. And the previous backup is then available and you can do a restore. So I've done that 5 different times now.
So worst case scenario is you've lost a little bit.
Just what you did today.
Just what you did today.
And so I've done that with 3 local businesses. One of them was hit 3 times in the last 5 years, and then 2 other businesses that have been hit with a ransom virus. And in all cases, we had Carbonite as a backup. The first time, it actually took almost 10 days. I mean, the place was shut down for 10 days. But
wow.
But we now have pretty much a good plan in place so that if it were to happen again, we've got the right version of Carbonite. That's the go-to. That's the savior. Now, you have to be careful about that. There are a number of, $70 is for a home user. This one business, we've got 2 terabytes that are backing up. And I want to say, well, we've got 3 servers and 22 systems in the office. And it's $1,200 or $1,300 a year.
Okay.
That is still a lot cheaper than the very first time it happened when it cost, it was $5,000 of my time. And while that sounds decent for me, there's nothing an owner or an employer hates more than to have to pay me to get him back to where he was yesterday.
Right. Ooh.
So while the business is there, when I'm paid to install something or set something up, they have a tangible piece at the end of it that they feel there was a value to pay for.
There's so many questions I have for you, and all of this is so overwhelming. We're talking with John Sell from Laser Systems right here in the Granite City. Super qualified, super competent, honest, tech support. You can remote in, you can work with a business, you can work with a private homeowner, whatever it may be. You can come to someone's house, try to fix their computer. Yeah. You can try to do it remotely. You can install some malware stuff remotely. You came in here, I don't know, not long ago, and pretty much had a gun to my head that if I didn't install malware on my computer that
Well,
you were never going to talk to me.
Malware cleaner, not malware.
Yeah, that's right. Malware
the opposite.
cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that?
Well, so ransomware used to be very specific.
Okay.
And you had to engage with an email in order for the ransomware to load. Today, that's different. They send out emails that look like legit emails.
That's right. And websites, too.
Yes. And you click on a link or you click on the download, and usually you get nothing. There's no warning or anything, because what it's doing is installing.
Yep.
So it installs malware on your computer, and that malware at a later date, it may be weeks, months, could be years, at a later date allows them in.
Right.
And so
That's
They-
absolutely alarming.
and
man.
then they install their ransomware via the back door that was opened by the virus you let in.
Oh, my God.
So it is extremely important that you have antivirus software on the computer. Now, the issue that many people, and I see this often, run into is, I'll get there and I'll find hundreds of infections on the computer, and they'll say, I bought this computer and it had an antivirus on it. What's wrong with my antivirus? Well, antivirus is a two-part deal.
Bro, I have said that. I have done that.
Yeah. Well, so you're a good testimonial.
Not that I'm,
Well-
super smart or anything.
Well, yeah, but so what happens is
Dumbass
when
with
you
this
buy
stuff.
your computer, you get antivirus. That antivirus is good for a year.
Okay.
At the end of that year, you get pop-ups that start coming around the 11th month that say you need to, and you look at that and you say, this sucks, and you get rid of it because you have antivirus. You paid for it.
Right.
You paid for the program. There's a subscription that comes along with that program that you have to pay for annually. And that subscription is updated, in some cases, 3 times a day,
Okay.
because there are that many new viruses. So what happens is after 365 days, your antivirus software still runs, but the encyclopedia with all of the names of the viruses it needs to look for is not being updated after that 1 year.
Oh, my God.
You need to pay the $40 or $50, it's usually $40, for the subscription to the encyclopedia so that it can continue to do its updates. With up to 1,600 new viruses a day,
Is that really?
well,
1,600 new viruses every day?
that's because people have a lot of spare time on their hands.
These people who are so intelligent to create these viruses, are they getting paid to create these viruses?
Most of them not.
If they're that smart, why aren't they working for IBM or some big company?
It's like throwing a brick through a window or, shooting out someone's back window with a BB gun. Why do people do that?
That's beyond me.
Because they're assholes.
Yeah, but they're smart assholes.
Yes, they are. And they could do something, but why do something intelligent when you can be a dumbass?
Yes.
And so invariably, these people think they bought a computer. The computer's 5 years old. They haven't updated in 4 years. So they're protecting themselves against viruses that are 4 years old.
Sure.
Because that was the last update that was done.
Right.
And Malwarebytes is probably one of the best because they have a free version. Their free version is used by, I would say, a majority of geeks like me.
Yeah.
It's quick to download. The 2-week free version will do a great job. And even if you've got another antivirus package on the computer, if you install this and run it, you'll be surprised at what it'll find.
Yeah. And you did that here with me. So I said malware before. I meant to say Malwarebytes, which is the name of the program.
Right. Yeah.
So we've got that installed here. You told me I had to do it. I just there's nothing else to talk about. I got to do it. So we've got it on here. Do I have to run a scan every day?
Only on the free version you will, but you won't once you pay for it.
All right.
And
So
it's regular. It'll run in the background. It does its thing, and it's really, really good at finding PUPs, potentially unwanted programs. And
what the hell's a PUP?
A pup.
It's a puppy.
A puppy.
From the Humane Society. What are you talking about, bud?
So pups invariably can morph into something like the ransom virus, because what it does is, a pup can be a program that's running in the background. If your system is running really, really slowly, it probably has a lot of malware running in the background.
Oh my God.
And so by stopping that and by quarantining these pups, you're helping stop ransom viruses from coming in the back door. Now, as a private individual, generally it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
But I've got 1.6 million pictures on my computer at home. I do photography on the side, and so I would be classified a digital hoarder.
Yes.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Except if I get hit with a ransom virus, I am screwed.
Yes.
Because one of the files that they by default attack are JPEGs, because they know that's one of the quickest ways to get you to pay the ransom.
So because you're going for the sentimental, the emotional
Absolutely.
stuff. So is it for real? Like when they say ransomware, pay us the ransom and we'll give you your stuff back.
They do, and they do give it back. In most cases, you will get your files back. And they have to do that because if a particular ransomware becomes known not to give your files back after paying the ransom, people aren't going to pay the ransom. So they know this. So they actually do give you your files back. The problem is, in many, many cases...
That's how they make a living.
Well, in many cases, more businesses than homes, they, when they're encrypting, take copies of your files. And then they blackmail you. So it's like getting kicked in the balls after you've paid the ransom. Weeks or months down the line, you get blackmailed because they threaten to take your data and sell it on the dark web, which is the black market on the internet. And
so they're looking for another ransom?
Absolutely.
Nudies.
And
nudies.
Yeah, that happens too. Because they will then threaten that they're going to put those on social media, that they will post these pictures they found on your computer, and they will. That's how they get their money.
How can they post this on social media without social media finding out who they are and shutting them down?
Well, it's the same as anything else. You just create a fake account. You do so from the library where it's a public.
So how come you can't track? Like if they say $1,000, give us $1,000 ransom and we'll give you your shit back.
So
how come you can't track where that money's going?
Well, they use internet currency, which is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a legal tender. You can use Bitcoin to buy things on the internet. You can trade dollars for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin can't be traced.
Yeah.
It's non-traceable from the buyer, and it's non-traceable for the receiver.
Right.
So 99% of all the ransoms are asking for payment in Bitcoin.
Right.
And like I said, we're collateral damage because they send out a virus and they're testing how good people or how well people will react to it.
We just got a live message here from this guy who's totally legit, Jackson Jack, who works at he's in a senior account manager at Bitcoin investment and Forex trading in Perth, Western Australia, and says, and I've seen this before. Hello, viewers all over the globe. I'm very happy today to share my testimony on how I was cured from herpes. And I've been suffering from herpes for the last 5 years, which gives me constant pain all over my body. And it goes on, and it basically says, please help me. I'll be forever grateful. And it gives the phone number and everything. This just popped up as you and I were talking right now.
Okay, wrong virus. I can't do much about herpes.
No, but I'm saying, this is a scam right here.
Eh?
This is a scam. I don't even know how to delete it. How do I delete this?
Yeah, just ignore it.
I don't even know how to do that. Hide it?
You don't even know how to
hide it? Do I hit hide?
Yes, you can do that.
Or this or delete.
There you go,
Delete. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean that's funky, dude.
It's unfortunate, and
Funky.
the problem with the internet in social media is just that, is it's anonymous. Anybody can do anything, and it's kind of like putting on a mascot costume and nobody knows who's in the mascot. You can get away with murder, well, so to speak. And so
Wow.
on the internet, that's why bullying is such a big deal.
Yeah, right.
Because the anonymity.
Sure.
You can do anything you want behind closed doors.
Right.
It's not okay. But it happens, and it's unfortunate.
But if you say something slightly disparaging toward your local government or anything, you go to Facebook jail.
Well, and you do that
But
because
bully some kid in your school, you can get away with that.
well, they can.
That's horseshit.
They can
dude.
find based on your IP address. So a good example. I want to say this was probably more than 5, like maybe 10 years ago, when I was working at the Barre schools. It was about 5 minutes of 8, and an announcement came out that the school was being locked down. And it turned out that somebody had posted on a gaming site in the UK about they were going to go shoot up the school.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember this.
This was a kid in Barre. And the moderator of the chat site thought it was a viable threat.
Yeah.
Because Barre was mentioned. He Googled the phone number of the police. He called the police. So the threat was put up about 6:30 in the morning, and by 8 o'clock, the police were at school.
Yeah.
So they found him. Happened to be the room I was in because I had gone into the room he was in. But they found him, and he was located. It was actually two kids, but they were located based on the IP address that was captured from the text they had posted, and the police had showed up at his house, and he was at school, and that's how that all happened. So,
wow.
The ransomware people, they get away with it because they use anonymous IPs. I mean, there's many ways that you can hide that stuff.
Comment here can be costly if you get the wrong antivirus program.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the best priced, most reasonable antivirus program for businesses?
Well, and there too. So as an IT guy, I mean, the two biggest or the industry leaders are McAfee and Symantec or Norton, and they have a ton of overhead, which means they use a ton of resources, and I actually find that they slow systems down a lot. The Bitdefenders and the MZSoft and the Malwarebytes would probably be three that are better priced and lower taxing on the system.
Yeah, I think mine's like $40 a year or something.
That's generally what. So these three, they're all in that price range.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying to sit and wait because you need antivirus on your computer, but they have sales where they'll do. I know MCSoft has sometimes 3 or 5 PCs that they'll protect for the same $40.
Ah,
So, but I wouldn't sit and wait for it.
right. Yeah.
So, and a lot of them have a $10. I mean, I have Malwarebytes on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And that's $10 a year. Now, it's probably less necessary on sorry, I'm just reading about somebody who had put a comment in. So it's less necessary on an iPhone than it is on an Android. Android phones are similar to PCs in that they can be infected by the same viruses that infect PCs. So if you have an Android phone, you really should have antivirus on that phone. Yeah.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you my phone.
Well, Malwarebytes is what I would suggest.
All right.
Only because you've already got it on your computer.
Will this cost me another $40 a year to have Malwarebytes?
No, 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah, it's either 10 or 12.
I got to do it. Actually, I don't have to do it. You have to do it.
That's how that works.
I try to do this I'll screw it up.
That is part of the issue. Is this whole subject is it's almost like talking about making a will.
Yeah, right.
You push it off because it's a subject you don't want to talk about.
Or the advance directive.
And it's same thing.
Yeah, I know.
And it's something you have to have.
If it's something like for me, I'll get so overwhelmed. I don't know what the hell to. Oh my God! I should just call you and say, dude, can you just either remote into my computer or come to my house? Here's my cell phone.
Yeah,
what do I owe you?
And that's that is something that I'll do. I mean, I can remote into as long as you've got an internet connection. I can remote in.
Yeah.
And I can step you through what you need to do on the phone. Mm-hmm. It's something that you especially now with what's going on in the Ukraine, mm-hmm. Most ransomware originates in Russia. Not all, but most.
Interesting.
And I will send you, and you can put up if you go to the FBI's main site, FBI.gov site, in the search bar you can put in cyber attack or you can put in the top 100 cyber criminals, and you'll find a huge number of Russians listed. Actually, the biggest one is
Russian government employees charged in hacking campaigns.
Yes, and that so because the world is shutting off his income sources, Putin is very happy
mm-hmm.
to have some of his best friends,
yes,
which are and have been allowed to do this
right.
under his. I mean, he full well knows, but he is actually benefiting because the ransom that gets paid is money that is funding the war against the Ukraine. So
this
yeah,
is crazy.
So yeah, if you put in there, go to the you're on the FBI site.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy.
Go to the search bar.
Well, let's do this.
Wanted right there.
Let's do this right here. Where?
Top
left.
Most
Top
wanted.
left.
Yep.
Most wanted.
And then put in.
Look at this.
In the search, put in cyber.
Cyber. CYBER.
Yep. And see who you come up with.
Look at this.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was not. What was it? FBI. Put in top 100 cyber criminals.
Top 100
cyber criminals. Yeah.
Top 100
and
cyber.
Their biggest. So the FBI actually has bounties on some of these people, and one of them is $3 million. So it's not insignificant. Yep. So.
This is amazing.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
It's really there's a ton of Chinese and there's a ton of Russians, and I'm not saying anything.
Crazy.
What I'm saying is people that pay the ransom are funding that, but they're also, when you pay the ransom, you're going to get your data back. The problem with paying the ransom is you're also paying for these outfits to generate the next level. And like I said, they're going to come back to you because you're the patsy. You paid. They're going to come back to you in a few weeks, and they're going to hit you with they're going to sell your data. They're going to publicize records that they found, and then you start to wonder, what did I have? And so there's
President Biden just March 22nd.
Yes.
Advised U.S. corporations to strengthen their cybersecurity practices because of intelligence indicating that Russia was looking at some potential attacks.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but has anything happened?
Well, this isn't something that you change overnight. There's a huge human component to ransomwares because they create, in many, many cases, you get an email that has an attachment. That attachment is a DHL or Federal Express or UPS ship notification. So you click on it because that's what you do.
Right.
The thing is, the email address it came from says UPS, but it says UPS at, and then it has a whole string of numbers and letters. Sure. You need to be aware of what you're clicking on, because even if you have a shipment coming from Amazon, the worst time for regular viruses is actually Thanksgiving to about a week before Christmas, because they know that people are getting shipments.
That's fascinating. White House recommends the use of multi-factor authentication
yes,
for preventing these attacks.
And that is good. It's not infallible. People can get around it, but you have to. They really have to want to get in. I've got multi-factor on pretty much everything, whether it's the bank or even AOL.
So we should all be backing up our
multi-factor authentication is when you set it up so that when you log in, you get a pop-up with a 6-digit code, and then you have to enter that code to actually get in. Your phone is the only thing that will generate that code. So you have to be the one who's actually trying to log in. I actually had my PayPal, somebody in Thailand less than a week ago tried to, at 4 a.m, get into my PayPal account.
My God.
Because I had my pop-up, and it gave me the 6-digit code to log in, but it wasn't me.
Oh, my God.
So this happens a lot.
Encrypt data, refresh your passwords. Keep your devices up to speed. Give John Sell a call over at Laser Systems and say, hey, do you have time to just come over to my house or remote in and just make sure that I'm up to speed with my computer is protected? I think I had it protected like 6 months ago. I'm not sure.
The unfortunate part is trying to or having to spend money on something that you can't see,
or before a problem has happened.
Well, and that is an issue. People don't understand until they're hit.
So does this mean that the average U.S. business firewall is not a match for Russian hackers?
Well, according to Cisco, and I think it was Cisco, but it may have also been the government site. I was reading this yesterday. 80% of U.S. businesses have been hit in the last year.
That's huge.
Well, that is. That number blew me away. I would have put that number closer to maybe 30%, but 80%, that's a lot of people. And in many, many cases, you won't hear about it because it's embarrassing to the business. They don't want to be known as somebody who's paying the ransom.
Right.
But in order to get up and running, look, it took UVM 8 months to get back from their hit.
That's right. 8 months.
Yeah.
I just dropped a link here. 8 things to do right now to protect your business from cyber hack.
Oh.
Julie says right here, I always click on the from address first, always before opening any email.
Julie is very smart. That is, so you want to know where the email came from. And even though it came from your brother, your sister, your mother, or your boss, if there's an attachment that you're going to click on or a link that you're going to click on, it behooves you to send an email or a call or a text and say, did you just send this to me?
Raylene has been talking about something. I'm not sure if she's in the building here, but about she gets a message on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, from JD saying, I just paid her on Facebook Facebook Pay. I just paid her $600, and then I send a message saying, "Hey, I accidentally paid you $600. I meant to send it to someone else. I accidentally sent it to you. It's right there. You can see it. I sent it to you. I'm sorry. I paid the wrong person. You're my friend. Would you pay me back?"
So that is a huge scam.
This is happening all the time,
yes,
brother.
It is.
It's everywhere. I'm hearing about it all the time.
Address spoofing is huge. Okay, so an address spoof is not a hack. And there's nothing you can really do about an address spoof. What that is so I'm on the board of directors of the Wilson syndrome, which is what my son has.
That's right.
And on the foundation. And it's a very small foundation, but we've been hit numerous times where an email will go to everybody on the board.
Okay.
Everybody on the board saying from the president,
right?
I'm in a meeting right now, and could you go out and get me $60 Amazon card because I and then send me the code on the back.
Yes.
That address spoof, it comes from the president's name at all of those funny numbers. It's not from the address that you would expect. You need to know who is sending the email.
Right.
And you need to use judgment and use good judgment in saying, well, this came from UPS. It really should say at ups.com.
Right.
It shouldn't say, at flubberbubber. Whatever.
Oh, my God. But so many of us miss that, though. We miss that.
Most people do, and that's how systems get infected. It's human nature, and they know that. Oh, I ordered something on Amazon yesterday, so I must be getting a delivery notification. Well, if that's the case, log into Amazon yourself when you get the email from them, and check it out. They do their order confirmation within 30 seconds. That's okay. If you get a delivery confirmation 2 days later, that could be from Amazon, but if it's not from Amazon.com, don't click on it. Log in.
Oh my God.
And look, the reason people don't do it, it's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's an extra thing that we need to think about. It's an extra 60 seconds of our time.
And we don't have 60 seconds.
No, we don't.
That's the bottom line.
We don't, especially if we're multitasking.
But here's the thing. Let's make those 60 seconds count.
Right.
60 seconds today, or 2 or 3 days and $500 later to get your data back.
Oh.
It's really sad that it has come to this, but our reliance on technology is now coming home to roost.
Yeah. You've given me a cheat sheet, if you will. Ransomware defense for dummies. What is this? Is this a book? Is this a
okay? So it's a 50-page tutorial. It was written by Cisco, and Cisco is a very large networking company. So it is kind of a sales piece for businesses. This is what you need to look for. This is what you should do, and of course, they have all of the answers. For most people, that is a really good primer. It's a starter on understanding ransomware. Trust me, it's a really dry, boring subject.
Of course it is.
If you go to YouTube and look for a 15-minute or a half-hour video, I'll find one that you can post. That may be better because you're not having to read it, and they'll go through some explanations.
Will you post that in the chat at some point later today?
If I'm allowed to.
You most certainly are. Because we all need to know this. We all need to.
Yes, and it, like I said, it's kind of like dying. It's something you don't want to talk about.
Right.
It's a fact of life.
We have to find the time. We all want to unplug, sit down, escape from reality, watch the TV, some mindless shit. But if you're going to be relying on your computer that has so much sensitive information in it, maybe skip that Netflix show for one night and read something about this. John and I are going to link it up here. We'll also link up a video here. Maybe we can link this stuff up here. You owe it to yourself to invest the time to read it. If you're going to be in the car, you're going to be doing a road trip,
listen to it.
Just listen to it.
Yeah, because there's very little that you need to watch. You don't need to understand the technical stuff behind it. You need to understand this will happen. It's not a matter of if. Your computer gets infected, whether it's the ransom virus or not. It's going to happen. If you're not protected, that's what you're asking for. And it's a lot cheaper to, it's like preventative medicine.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper to protect yourself from something, mask, whatever, than it is to, after the fact, get COVID and say, shit, I should have worn a mask.
Of course. Yeah.
Get yourself vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's exactly what you're saying. The Malwarebytes that you helped me install here, that's not going to prevent me clicking on.
No, that's the
email.
That's the human nature thing. Okay, that's why it has gotten to the point where most businesses should have a training. It doesn't take a long training, maybe an hour, for somebody to go in and explain, this is what you need to look for.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah. The problem there is, too, it has to become a best practices. This is what you do.
Right.
It's part of your job, and business owners should consider the knowledge of looking at an email before you click on it. That needs to be part of your job. Your job is not, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this, but it's true.
I follow you.
Your job used to be to read the mail and then forward it to whomever it needs to be forwarded to. And that's fine, except things have changed.
Right.
And so it is now part of your job to make sure you know where this came from and if it's a legit email, because the last thing you want to do is forward it to somebody who's even less. Yeah, that's and I see this every day. It's really unfortunate.
16. What did you say again? 16,000?
No, 1,600.
1,600
That's a lot of new viruses.
Viruses per day?
Yeah, well, a lot of late teen males, because that's that is the FBI's I don't know what you
conduit.
Yeah, if you will, that's what they say.
Yeah.
The person is.
Yeah.
They could make a lot of money if they. I mean, there's right now, this industry needs good people, and that's not something you put on your resume.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants that. Because if you're going to do it in your bedroom, what are you going to do when you're sitting at your desk? So, with the with the potential income these people could get.
If you're on your cell phone and you open up on your Gmail or whatever, you open up an email that's got a virus on it.
On your phone, it'll probably cause a problem more than on my phone. It doesn't mean that Macs and iPhones don't get viruses. They do.
Right.
They just don't. I mean,
but does that mean that virus has made it into my computer if I open up my email on my computer?
Yes. If you open that email and click on a link or download whatever the attachment is, opening an email, while I can say in most cases you're not going to get infected opening an email.
Okay.
It is 9 out of... I know these people.
Oh, my God. Our party's getting crashed here.
Hi. Yeah. So that's... Just opening the email, that's text.
Yeah.
If your email is set to open a preview of the attachment, which is an option, then if that attachment is infected, you're going to infect your computer.
Oh my God! Even though your computer is not even with you,
Well, no. I'm saying no. If you open it on the phone, it's not going to touch your computer. Yeah, I'm saying if you open it on the phone and then you go to your computer. I mean, I remote into my computer and I check things.
But that's scary because you may not know.
You don't know. That's what they play on. What there needs to be is some very high, and there've been a couple, and I mean literally a couple. There needs to be some really high profile arrests and high profile prosecutions of assholes who do this.
Yeah.
Because they know that in most cases it'll be a slap on the wrist, and that's it. And that's not okay.
Yeah.
So my card is actually up on your. I think you had put it up a little while ago. And
you've been doing this since 1984. You're right here in Barre.
I did it before the internet was around.
Jeez.
And I didn't build the internet like Al Gore.
My God. I mean, you're on LinkedIn. You're on Facebook. We've got your email address here.
Yeah, and
the phone number, and I'm going to drop that right here.
Thank you.
On the link. So people should call you. And, it's like I feel after just chatting with you for a short period of time, and I'm serious, that I just want to say, hey, John, can we schedule an hour appointment, or maybe it's 30 minutes, I don't know, just for you to come in here. I'll get the hell out of here. I won't ask you any questions. I won't distract you, and just have you sit here, go through my computer, look around, make sure everything is up to speed. And then, of course, even still, I have to have the knowledge of...
You don't have to know how it works, but you have to know what you need to keep working.
Yes.
So,
well said.
And I've done a lot of staff development trainings when I was working for the school district over the 20 years. And first off, there is no such thing as a dumb question. Many, many, many people.
I don't know, brother. I got many.
If you don't know the answer to a question,
yeah,
it's not dumb.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's the way I would start all of my trainings. If you have questions, when we get to the question, ask them.
Yeah.
I would rather have you ask me before you click on something than after.
Right.
And I get that for me, obviously, if you wait until after, there's obviously I get hired to clean your system, but like I said at the get-go, that is something most people are pissed off about having to pay for. Sure. And I get that, but I got to eat too.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And so, if it only takes a half hour, I bill for a half hour. So
right,
I'm not going to bill for an hour. And I wish people would think ahead, as opposed to it's that preventative thing. Preventative medicine goes a real long way.
Sure.
Does it work 100% of the time? No, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, you pay your medical insurance, your car insurance, your homeowners. This should be part of everything.
Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I had the mainline sewer back up into my house 3 months after I finished renovating or doing my basement, and according to the town of Barre, it was an act of God. They weren't responsible. And I said, I'm a good Catholic. God wouldn't do that to me. But my insurance wouldn't pay for it because it was dirty water. I now have a $25 rider that covers dirty water as opposed to clean water. I mean, it was a real kick in the balls because I pay for insurance, and Wendy was really upset that we had 300 gallons of shit in our basement.
Oh, my God.
And I said, don't worry about it. We got insurance. Yeah, that wasn't the case. So, So sometimes insurance doesn't do it. But in most cases, it does. And you can't hang your hat on that one time,
Sure.
You can't do that.
Right. That's right. This is fascinating stuff, man. I mean, just reading and seeing what's coming out of Russia and the warnings that are coming out of the White House. Businesses need to be on their damn toes. We all do.
Well, everybody does, but businesses in particular. And like I said, originally the ransomware was a very specific,
right,
and it was also certainly the cases that I had locally were, I think the most was like $3,500.
Yeah.
And the largest pipeline to the East Coast in the U.S. was shut down a month ago, and they paid.
Who was that?
I can send you a link, but I know that they paid just under $6 million because they had to get up and running.
Oh,
now
God.
That's an issue. They were shut down, and it was a huge issue with heating fuel, and so that's what's being targeted. And the fact that they were able to get through to something that size, they are targeting our infrastructure. The Third World War probably is not going to be nuclear; it's going to be technical.
Firewalls being blown out.
You shut down our banking system. You shut down our fuel. You shut down that. You shut down our country.
Electrical grid.
Yeah.
Done. We're screwed.
Yes, absolutely. And, this isn't because, you want to run around with a flag with a skull and a crossbones. But our reliance on technology has put us here. And we are only as good as the weakest link. And if that weakest link is not checking where that email came from, your company is screwed.
And this ransomware stuff, it's constantly evolving.
It is. And they're expecting a 300% increase this year over last year. Last year was 2.1 billion. That's how much ransomware made last year, $2.1 billion.
In 21. And you said 300% spike?
That's what they're expecting.
This year?
This year.
Just this year?
This year.
Thank you for coming in, my man.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's do this. Can we do this again?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's an evolving, it's unfortunate, but it is an evolving topic.
You do realize, John Sell, that you could have your own podcast. And you would have plenty of content. Plenty.
If you want to have it on a regular basis, we could do something small here.
Thank you for being one of our sponsors.
Yes,
and our supporters. I'm going to get you back in here real soon. I just want you to sit down, take the wheel, have a look, double check, make sure my Malwarebytes software, everything is running right, and I just rest assured. That's what I want.
Thank you very, very much.
John Sell from Laser Systems right here, Sesame Street, Barre.
Sesame Street.
Yes, Sesame Street. We're going to put his email and everything right here for you from Laser Systems so you can get in touch with him. There's his phone number right there, 272-0950, right on the feed here. But,
okay.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
You.
All right.